dusting today before I give you a little tour of my bedroom. Now, the reason that I'm dusting with one of these feather dusters is because recently when I did a thrifting episode here in my bedroom, a lot of you guys asked if I would show you my bedroom, so I'm happy to do that. I think we did it in one video around the holidays a year or two ago, I can't remember, but for those of you who haven't seen it, I'll try to give you some details on it. But a number of you also asked, well, how do I keep all of these dusted? And this is how I keep it dusted. I just have a feather duster, and once or twice a week I just kind of do this, and then periodically, because Hubs and I are always inventorying our books, we are bringing some in, we're getting rid of a lot of them right now. Then when we do a shelf or two once a week, then that's when I deep clean behind and really do some intense dusting. So you'd be amazed at how effective this is. And actually I just kind of keep it hidden in a basket so that I can grab it whenever I need to and change out the head when it gets too dusty. Now this tip is compliments of my friend Kylie, and she recommends and says it really has reduced the amount of dust she has in her home, and that's by getting an air purifier for your room. And I actually have ordered one, and I have one of those purifiers that's connected to your HVAC system, but I want one that's a little bit more targeted, and my larger unit is a little bit old, so I don't know how effective it really is, but I am going to get a smaller unit for in here. And that's helpful if you have allergies. I'm allergic to dust and dander. My husband has COPD, or if you have any kind of respiratory issues in general, good idea to keep dust to a minimum. And so thank you, Kylie, for that tip, and I'll put a link to the one that I have ordered. Another thing is that because, this is a very dynamic wall of books. We put in these bookshelves when we bought the house. I've always had wanted to see or wanted to have kind of a bedroom that was a library. And this, I saw something in a magazine. It was actually in a home in Charlottesville, Virginia. I fell in love with it, and we just kind of recreated it in here. Here's another tip, you guys. If you, like me, live in an older home that is light starved, one thing that we did was, this is a dormer closet. I won't show you what's inside of it because it handles kind of and holds kind of the utilitarian stuff of life. My husband likes to sleep with a fan on. It's got other things like that we stash in there. But it does have a wonderful window in it. When we bought the house, that was a solid door. So to infuse a little bit more light into this room, I replaced that door with a multi-paned glass door with beveled glass, which still speaks to the vintage of my house, but it helped bring in more light to this space immeasurably. So that's another tip, and it wasn't too expensive of an option, especially since we've lived in this house for so long. It was a really good return on my investment. Now, we have talked a lot about this on my channel when we've done home interior tours, and that is, are we maximalists? Are we minimalists? What are we? Well, I would say that I am a moderalist, moderation in all things. So while my bookshelves tend to be pretty packed and contained, any kind of surfaces that really are pressed into use, like my nightstands, my Hubs nightstand over there, these don't have a lot of things on them, and what they have on them are just strictly functional. So obviously I've got my remote, I've got a beautiful cigarette, what are these called? I don't even know what they're called. Ashtrays, thank you. That just shows how it's not part of our lexicon anymore now that we don't smoke so much. But this belonged to my brother-in-law, and so I use it as a coaster by my bedside. And then obviously I have my books and everything. So here's another trick that I showed on Instagram that has also aesthetically improved my quality of life. I don't like things that are plastic. and I don't like things lying around that are plastic because I don't like to see them. So I wanted something to have by my bedside, and always my storage container of choice is some kind of basket. I am kind of a basket slut. I love baskets. I love the texture of them. You guys know I like to use them outside. I like to use them inside. It's a great thing to look for at thrift stores. But when I had all of the detritus of life that I like to keep by my bedside, for a while I had it in an open basket, but I didn't like that either because you could see, to make it accessible, the basket didn't have a top, and then you could still kind of see the paraphernalia that was in there. I know you guys think I'm a control freak, but nevertheless, these are little delights that are not expensive and give me immense joy. So in here is where I have all of my stuff. So I've got my Tylenol in here. I've got some Kleenex. I have some nail cream. I've got a pair of headphones in here. I've got cough drops. I've got, what else do I have in here? A really fragrant soap that one of my followers, they sent me a whole box of their fragrant soaps. And instead of using them, what I like to do is just kind of scatter them around, put them in my drawers and in different places because I just love their scent. This one is called Walk in the Woods. It is by Essence Earth Skincare, and it's made with essential oils. Anyhow, this one smells like a walk in the woods, so I love it. So the nice thing about this is basically a bag. I got this from Walmart. It was like $12, and I used it during the summer as a purse. But now that the seasons are changing, I have pressed it into service by my bedside where it kind of hides all of the stuff that I use at night, and I don't have to bend over. It's just right there, and I like that. So that's just another little tip. Some other things and some provenance of some of the furnishings in the room. The bed we got at Ballard Design a million years ago. I have always had a Madelace bedspread on here. And recently I wanted it to look a little bit more textural, ethnic and African inspired. And my favorite designer on Instagram is probably Serena Crawford. And I wanted a look that spoke to that aesthetic a little bit more. So I got this, this quilt and the shams. I got it at Bed Bath & Beyond a little while ago. And I love it because then you can just take a quick nap during the day. And I love the way it looks. And these are interchangeable, so you can use it on one side and then you can use it on another. Now here's my question of the day for you. This is really a throwback to what was more prevalent when I was growing up. And I grew up in a very strict household, and one thing we weren't allowed to do was sit on the beds. To me now that seems a little bit odd, but we weren't allowed to sit on the beds growing up. We had to make our bed every morning, and to me that's just not practical. So here's my question for you. Do you guys sit on your beds? I know some people don't like to do it because it can break down your mattress over time to sit on the edge, but in general, are you somebody who lounges on your bed or not when you're not sleeping? That's a weird question, I know, but I find it kind of fascinating because it gives insight into how people were brought up and what their practices are. Okay, here's another little tip. So this large European sham and European pillow I have had in various iterations over the years. So when we first moved into this house, I think my aesthetic was much heavier. It was much more tapestry laden. It was much more kind of old world European. And at that point in time I had, and you can still see it infused throughout my bookshelves, I really love kind of a deep red, gradations of red, kind of like my friend John Turman, whose home we visited. He likes lots of blue and white. I like lots of red. And so there's a predominance of red and terracotta colors in my bookshelves. And you can see that kind of infused in here. And that's always been the case, even though I would say I've reworked the formula a little bit. And here's an example. So I used to have these pillow shams. I had a couple of them. And I kept them on this side, which was their intentional side. But I loved the back side of these, which is as interesting to me as the front side. So I still wanted to reuse and repurpose these. So I saw in a magazine, again, it was in that one Southern Living article from Charlottesville, Virginia, in an old home where they had a huge pillow like this that was embroidered. So what I did was I just took it to someone who did this kind of work. She embroidered it for me, and then I found these wonderful buttons, because this obviously was the access point to put in the pillow in the inside. And so what I did was I found some great wooden buttons that then I secured with some leather twine, and I love the look. I love the organic quality it has, and again, it has kind of an African vibe to it or whatever. Plus, it's large enough so it kind of hides any irregularities in the pillow shams and things. So that's one way that I reused, recycled, repurposed what I already had, because I am all about rethinking and being re-inspired by stuff that you already have by just being observant and looking at other things. So that's an idea. Plus, I am a girl who loves monograms, and how I decided to put my monogram on there and not Hub's, I'm not sure, but nevertheless, I love the way it looks. Okay, here's another idea. You guys know I love to thrift. First of all, let me back up a little bit. All of the wicker that you see in here, my nightstand, this gorgeous piece right here, this table, and Stuart, if you don't mind showing behind you, that wonderful, wonderful chair. All of this wicker was in a contained glass porch that my parents had in their Indiana home. At that time, it was white. And when I brought it home to use, I wanted to paint it. And this is a very, very deep green. It almost reads black. I found this color used in a Martha Stewart article. I can't remember the exact name of the color. If I had to do it again, I would probably do it in a really deep espresso brown, but I do still love this green. And then I had from a wonderful online glass company that is so economical, you guys. And what's the name of the glass store? I'm going to have to come up with it. And if I can, I will try to put a link above. But I just had a piece of beveled glass cut to fit the table. So it protects it, and I really love that idea. Oh, the company is Dulles Glass, D-U-L-L-E-S, Dulles Glass, and I have used it. They will ship it to you. The shipping costs aren't prohibitive, and I have used it on my table in my breakfast room downstairs, on my library book table, a number of different places, because I love the look of thick beveled glass on top of something that you're trying to protect. So that's the provenance of the wicker. But here's what I wanted to show you. So these brass candlesticks, honestly, I can't remember where I got them. I think I got them at an antique store or a thrift store many, many years ago. And when I got them, they came with this wonderful form-fitting glass hurricane. Well, I broke one of them. And so I didn't have a matching set anymore. And obviously, I still wanted to use this one. So here was my solution that I liked just as much, I think. And that was that I think I got this at like Home Depot. And it is just a sconce that is intended to hang from a light fixture that is suspended, and this would be its positioning on the wall. But look, you guys, it fits perfectly here. over the top of this candlestick. And then the day that I discovered that one of these votives that has striations in it, linear striations in it, the day that I realized you could put that in one of these, it reads kind of a glass stone sconce, and it did this wonderful reflective thing, was a happy day. So now I kind of try to repeat this treatment with these wonderful, wonderful, what would you call that, Stuart? Shadowing, or just those light reflections. I love the way that looks. So that's just a fun little thing. It's those tiny little delights that give me great joy, and I think cost nothing but improve the quality of your life exponentially. The grid of these 4 kind of modern paintings came from Mockingbird Manor, which is an antique store around the corner from me. I got them many, many years ago. These, on a personal note, these are my parents. This is my daddy, who died in 2013. And this is my first mother, who died when she was 36. So I keep these near and dear to me, but you'll notice that I don't have a lot of other things just cluttering up this surface. That way, if I'm using it, if I'm working with books or something, then I've got a clean surface. It's also nice if on a really cold, wintry day or rainy day, and we're just kind of hanging out in bed, or if I'm sick or something, then it's a great place where I can have a tray that's got my tea and, tea and crumpets or tea and scones or whatever, and I don't have to find a place to put it. So I made sure that the negative space here was about tray size. And then another thing that I like to do is take things that are utilitarian and practical, but also very beautiful, and use them as kind of part of the decor. And here's a couple of examples. So some of the books that I'm reading right now, the ones that I'm referring to frequently that I take off the bookshelf, I keep down here. And I'm currently in love with this book here right now, Curate, by Linda Gardner. I love this book, and you can see why, because it's got so many of the organic, outdoorsy qualities to it that I really like. So it's been a great point of inspiration for me. So I keep this here at the ready. But I also loved the fact and found it just so pleasing that my tiny little train case that I got from Mark and Graham, that looks ever so safari and ever so kind of out of Africa, fits perfectly into this little compartment on this table. And I love the way it looks. It's the same color of green, and I love the fact that it's here and just ready to go, you guys. It keeps all of my toiletries and everything for when I travel. So it's here. I don't have to pack. It's ready to go. Very chic, and I love the way that looks. And I like it even better when it gets a little bit more beat up. So here's another example of something that is utilitarian that I think is just so inherently beautiful that I like having it out. And that's my new cowboy boots that my husband got me for Christmas last year. Actually, he got me a gift certificate and we just went and bought them. But these are really, really beautiful, you guys. And so it makes me happy to have them here and look at them. But periodically, if I'm switching things out or whatever, I like having my hunter boots out, my red wellies, my black wellies with the green tops. I will have those out where you can see them, because I just love the fact that they contribute to kind of the outdoorsy English vibe that I like, and they're kind of organic, and I guess they're part of my garden-inspired life, and so they speak to the fact that I love to garden. So that's kind of this little area here. This bench I had made. One of the very first Mother's Days after my kids were born, my husband bought me this antique rug, this oriental rug from, I can't remember, and it had some blemishes on it, but for years I had it in my living room downstairs, and those holes and blemishes were strategically covered by furniture. And I loved this rug. When it got to the point where it was fraying even more and aging even more, that was no longer practical. Plus, I wanted kind of a lighter look downstairs, so I had a bench made out of it. And I absolutely love the way it looks, and I love the texture, and I love the depth of color. And it feels to me like the whole composition of this now kind of tells a story. I can almost see mosquito netting over it or something. And as a reflection that the whole thing kind of tells a story to me, you guys, is because my husband and I, we went to Africa on our honeymoon, and so I've got images from that African trip. And yes, we were actually chased by this elephant here. So it's just, oh, it just gives me nice memories. Here's my handsome husband in Africa. Looks kind of like Clark Gable way back when in one of our pup tents. So I think it's just a nice way to remember your past without having maybe too much stuff out. So again, my theory of not having a lot on side tables and things continues here. I got this little bird's nest fern from Trader Joe's. I typically don't like the planters that they have there. They look cheap to me, but I loved this. It had kind of, I don't know, just kind of an ethnic vibe that I really liked. When we bought the house, this faux fireplace had a tiny little wood surround to it. And when we built the bookcases, I had a more formidable, more impressive surround made by a trim carpenter to surround it. And I just really like that. The andirons belonged to my grandparents on my father's side, and I've just kind of pretended with some logs in there. And in the wintertime, we do put candles and such like that to kind of give that aura of a working fireplace. You guys may remember Stuart and I went antiquing not too long ago, and I bought this at Antique Avenue on Western, and it makes a wonderful just thing to hold clothes, dirty laundry. I got this at a thrift store. I think it was all of $3. I love it. I love its shape. And then I just love organic things. These are some dried cowhorn okra pods that I grew many years ago, and I think they look fabulous in here. One thing my sweet husband does for me when he goes on trips, when he goes fishing or that type of thing, we're big hikers, and he will always look for really beautiful foraged finds for me. And he went to Wyoming on a trip, and he came back with the most gorgeous bouquet of these beautiful trimmings that came from one of the places that he visited. So I just love that. Here's a picture of me when I was in Africa. This little bowl here, this came from a thrift store. I love its shape. This belonged to my mom. And this is a painting my husband had before we got married of Canyon de Chelly, a really wonderful place you must visit in the Southwest United States. This wonderful garland that creates these beautiful shadows, this was from part of the Together Weather campaign that I worked with Shop Terrain or Terrain. I absolutely love this, and it is my nod to fall decor. So I just really love that. The rug here belonged to my mom, and the kind of sisal rug underneath it I had made at a rug store just around the corner from me. You'll note that I don't travel very far to get stuff done. One update, you guys. The last time we were all together in my bedroom, I showed you guys some thrifted things. And I told you about my project that I was going to do with my son Johnny's jeans, who lives in Singapore right now. And I'm going to work on, and I'm still working on it, you guys, a project where I want to make some of these patchwork jeans. So what I was going to do was use these great breeches that I got for $5.49 at my local Goodwill store. And they were just wonderful. And at the time I told you that they just didn't fit very well, so I was going to use this fabulous pattern as my inspiration, cut it up and use it for the patches. These were from Harold's. Well, I don't know what I was thinking, because these are just too wonderful. And when I tried them on again, maybe it was because I lost a couple pounds or who knows. But when I tried them on again, they fit perfectly. So if the other day I was channeling Barbara Stanwyck and Victoria Barkley from the Big Valley, I am now going to channel Meg from Mad Men. Don Draper's second wife, was that her name, Meg? She was really into 70s clothing and everything, and I will show you what this outfit looks like when I style it. So to so many of you who thought it was absolutely blasphemous for me to cut these up and make them into patches, I heeded your advice. I tried them on again, and now they fit like a glove. So I don't know what I was thinking, but I do know that I'm going to have to revisit completely my whole patchwork design for these jeans. So that's why we haven't gotten a follow-up video on that project. So let me kind of just finish up in here with the remains of the day, I guess. I got this wonderful bureau at an antique store many years ago. It was just basically unfinished pine, I believe, and I covered it with a deep, rich brie wax that I just put on. It was very easy to do. I think I completed it in less than an hour, and then I don't have a lot of framed pictures around anymore. Those that I do are really special to me. Hubs with my two darling little boys fishing, and just a few books and things. So there you go. That is kind of a little review of my room for those of you that wanted a tour of my bedroom. Hopefully it gave you a few hints. I'm no designer. I'm no interior stylist or anything, but these are just some things that have worked with and for me over time, and hopefully they will also work for you, just to give you an idea of how things are placed and situated. Maybe I'll save this room for another day. This is my office that's separated by French doors. Some of you who've been in my home before know this, separated by French doors that go into my office. And over here, I've got a tiny little writing desk where I make my list of what I'm going to do tomorrow, what videos Stuart and I need to shoot, and it's underneath yet another Mother's Day gift. My husband is a wonderful shopper for really meaningful gifts, and he got me this beautiful painting that reminded me of my first mom, and it's just a wonderful thing for me to look at when I write out my to-do list in the morning. So there you go. There is a little tour of my bedroom. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a couple of tips. Please make sure to answer my question of the day. I'm fascinated about whether or not you sit on your bed and what that does or doesn't say about your upbringing. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Stuart's laughing because he thinks that is such an odd question, but I'm a lot older than he is. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. You guys have a great day. Well, if you've held on this long, here's your fashion epilogue for today. I'm getting ready to meet a friend of mine for a late lunch, early dinner, so I'm a little bit more dressed up than I normally would be. My earrings are part of that wonderful Atrios brand that is tile-inspired, European tile-inspired antique tiles. Love, love, love this line and love her work, and we'll try to put a card so that you can click on some of her offerings. My necklace is from Madewell. I got it about a year ago on sale, and apparently a chain link necklace like this that's kind of short and neck hugging is supposedly a staple of the season. I don't know, but I kind of like it. My necklace is part of the Orchard Jewelry collection from Janet Mavick. Love, love her stuff. It's all nature inspired. My shirt, I believe, is Gap. My skirt, I've had for years, and it's interesting. I got it from Bowdoin probably about 10 years ago, and I seldom wore it when I first got it, and now I wear it all of the time. It has this wonderful beadwork at the bottom that has kind of a Southwest vibe to it, which I really, really like, and I think it's perfect for the season. My only complaint is it doesn't have pockets, and I really like everything to have pockets. My belt I've showed you before. This is one of my best thrifting trips ever, was to a wonderful place near Zion National Park. I got this belt there. Love it. I do need to put another belt hole in it though, because it's a little bit too big. My boots are ancient. They're probably one of my very, very favorite pair of boots. I got them from Sundance. I like the fact that they're equestrian looking and kind of beaten up. They have a tartan plaid interior that I really, really like. My bracelet was a Mother's Day gift bought in an antique jewelry store. It was from an estate sale in Salida, Colorado, and you've seen this ring before. I got it at some kind of street market in one of the places that we went traveling. And for those of you who ask about how I got into doing the fashion ensemble, well, I think people that are gardeners in general just love the art of composition, whether it's an interior design, whether it's exterior design in your gardens, or whether it's putting together an outfit. It's just that play of textures, colors, line, and form. And so I think for me, it was just a natural segue. So that's one of the reasons that I am kind of interested in putting together outfits more than, I guess, fashion in general. So there you go. There's your fashion epilogue for today.